Welcome back to another episode of the Rational Football League Show. My name is Emmett. I'm here with my co-host, Brendyn Ford.
What up, y'all?
You guys can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Don't be afraid to come check us out. Say hi to us. Leave us some comments. We'll always love hearing from you. With that, we have a great lineup of segments on the show today. We are going to be discussing who won free agency. We're going to look at what the Bears should do with the number 9 pick. And we're also going to be doing a draft profile on Marvin Harrison Jr. First up, we have who won free agency. While there's a lot of big name signings, our top team might actually come as a surprise. We'll see you guys in the segment. Hey football fans, welcome back to the RFL Show, the Rational podcast for rational fans. I'm Emmett Swarat. This is my co-host Brendyn Ford, and today we are diving into the aftermath of NFL free agency. The dust has settled, deals have been made, but the question remains, who came out on top? From blockbuster signings to unexpected moves, this year's free agency period has been nothing short of thrilling. Let's take a closer look at the teams that have made a big splash and which ones position themselves for the biggest turnaround in this upcoming season.
First up, let's take a look at some of the most impactful signings and trades across the NFL. Teams like the Eagles and Vikings have made some splashy moves where they acquire top talent to strengthen their rosters. But did these moves pay off, or did they fall short of expectations? The Vikings kicked off free agency with a whirlwind of ups and downs. First, the blow of losing Kirk Cousins to the Falcons hit hard, and then the departure of Danielle Hunter to the Texans did not help. However, they bounced back by snagging the younger and more affordable Jonathan Grenard from the Texans, and they did not stop there. They made waves with signings like Sam Darnold, Aaron Jones, and Andrew Van Ginkel. But amidst the frenzy, it is easy to overlook the importance of the Sam Darnold signing. While he may serve as a bridge quarterback for right now, his arrival hints at a larger move on the horizon for the Vikings, maybe hinting at them upgrading at the quarterback spot. You can see our video on that here. The Eagles pulled off some serious roster upgrades, snagging Saquon Barkley, Bryce Huff, and Devin White. Our favorite move was the Barkley signing. With Saquon in the mix, fans should expect some electrifying offense. While Swift racked up over 1,000 yards last season, the Eagles were still longing for that extra receiving punch. Enter Saquon, boasting a career-high 121 targets. He's about to spice up their aerial game like prime Brian Westbrook. Despite the flurry of signings, these teams still have a good amount of gaps to fill on their rosters. The Eagles made a calculated move by signing Devin White to a cost-effective deal, but his recent struggles and attitude issues, which even led to his benching in Tampa, should force the front office to bring in more options. Meanwhile, the Vikings have made progress in addressing their weak spot in their roster, but they're placing a heavy bet on Jonathan Grenard's ability to prove he's not going to be a one-season wonder. Additionally, they're relying on the possibility of moving up in the draft to secure their quarterback of the future. These teams face ongoing challenges as they work to build and strengthen their rosters.
Next, let's talk about the impact players who have changed teams in free agency. From star quarterbacks to elite defensive playmakers, the NFL landscape looks vastly different with players like Kirk Cousins, Danielle Hunter, and Azeez Al-Shaair donning new uniforms. How will these players impact their new teams, and will they live up to the hype? The Falcons made waves in free agency, snagging Kirk Cousins to helm their offense as the new franchise quarterback. But hold on to your seats because they didn't stop there. They also inked Darnell Mooney and orchestrated a trade for Rondale Moore, stealing the spotlight alongside Cousins. While Cousins commands attention, don't underestimate the impact of Mooney and Moore. Mooney excels as a slot receiver and should be utilized similar to Puka Nacua in the Rams' dynamic offense, while Moore brings electrifying talent with an impressive 8.1 yards after catch per reception in his rookie season. These additions promise to inject some serious excitement into the Falcons lineup. The Texans have made some serious moves of their own, especially bolstering their defense. They've beefed up their edge rushing game with the acquisitions of Danielle Hunter and Denico Autry, setting the stage for some serious havoc opposite rookie sensation Will Anderson. And let's not forget about Azeez Al-Shaair joining the linebacking core, a move that's bound to add some serious punch. Al-Shaair's previous success under D'Amico Ryans in San Francisco speaks volumes, and I've got high hopes for the energy and impact he'll bring to the Texans defense. With these powerhouse additions, the Texans' defensive lineup is looking like a force to be reckoned with this season. But wait, there's still more. The Texans also pulled off a blockbuster trade for star running back Joe Mixon. Just when you thought their offense couldn't get any more impressive, they go ahead and make a move that's sure to lock up the AFC South. The Texans and Falcons made bold moves in free agency, positioning both teams for potential breakthroughs this season. However, the Falcons left their most glaring weakness to be addressed in a thin draft class. The Falcons in particular are in desperate need of edge rushers. With limited options available in free agency, they must turn to a draft class that offers only 3 standout prospects for a solution. While the Texans certainly made some splashy signings, let's not overlook the fact that they still have a few gaps to fill on their roster. Despite landing star players, there's room for improvement at defensive tackle, cornerback, linebacker, and right tackle positions. On the other hand, our top team clinched the victory because they managed to address a greater number of needs without breaking the bank. It's a testament to their strategic approach to roster building, ensuring they're well equipped across the board. So while the Texans made strides, there's still work to be done before they can claim the crown.
Sometimes it's the under-the-radar signings that make the biggest difference. The Commanders may not have made headlines with their free agency moves, but their strategic moves could prove to be the biggest difference maker in the upcoming season. The Commanders made some under-the-radar yet impactful signings, bringing in players like Frankie Louvu, Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner, Nick Allegretti, and Tyler Biadasz. While these names might not ring a bell for you, they're solid playmakers who can bolster any roster. Allegretti stepped up nicely at guard for the Chiefs during the Super Bowl, while Biadasz has been a reliable starter at center for the Cowboys. Louvu showcased his talent with an impressive 125 tackles and 5.5 sacks, shining brightly for the Panthers in a very challenging season. What's truly remarkable about these moves is that the Commanders didn't really break the bank to secure them. Despite their value to the team, the largest contract handed out had an annual average value of just $11 million. This financial prudence leaves the Commanders with a lot of flexibility moving forward, setting them up for success in the long run. It's a savvy approach that should pay dividends as they continue to build and strengthen their roster. So who won the NFL free agency? Was it the teams that made the biggest splashes, the impact players who changed teams, or the surprise winners that flew under the radar? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our other videos we have on our channel. Thanks for watching. We are the RFL Show, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome back, guys. Hope you enjoyed that free agency segment. Hopefully you went down and told us what you thought about who won free agency. With that, we're going to be turning our attention to our next segment, what the Bears should do with the number 9 pick. It seems all but a lock that the Bears are going to take Caleb Williams number 1, but that number 9 can really be used to help set up their future of the franchise with either trading back, taking a receiver, or an edge rusher. We'll let you guys know what we think they should do in the segment. The Chicago Bears are at a crossroads in the 2024 NFL Draft. With the number 9 pick, they have a chance to round out their rebuilt roster, address a remaining need, and shape the future of the franchise. But with great opportunity comes great responsibility. Which choice best sets this franchise on a path for long-term success? Drafting a receiver, taking the top edge, or trading back for more picks? Stick around to find out. Welcome back, football fans. I'm Emmett Swarat, here with my co-host Brendyn Ford. Today, we are diving into the Chicago Bears draft strategy for the 2024 NFL Draft. The Bears have picks 1 and 9 this season because of their trade with Carolina for the number 1 pick last season. With their first pick, the Bears are almost a lock to take Caleb Williams at USC. What about pick 9? The Bears have done a good job filling out a lot of the holes on their roster before the draft. They could take the remaining receiver from the big 3, take the top edge rusher to pair with Sweat, or trade back and get more capital for a depleted war chest. So what should they do? We are going to lay out each option and at the end show which one best sets the Bears up for long-term success.
With the Bears bringing in Caleb Williams to run the show, it only makes sense for them to surround Caleb with as much talent as possible. They started this process last season when they traded for a top 10 receiver, DJ Moore, and then traded for Keenan Allen this offseason. But at what point are the Bears overusing resources on the wide receiver spots? Let's look at the pros and cons. The pros are you can never have too many weapons, especially when you're bringing in a rookie quarterback. The better the spot for Caleb, the more likely he will be to succeed. Also, Keenan Allen will be 32 when the season kicks off and only has 1 year remaining on his current contract. Bringing in a rookie will allow them to kind of learn from Allen for a season and then be a cheap replacement in 2025. Now, let's look at the cons. The Bears have already dedicated a lot of resources to the wide receiver spot and still have a lot of other gaps on the roster to fill. It would be a luxury at this point for the Bears to bring in another high-end receiver rather than a need. This is also a really deep wide receiver class that offers starting level receivers in almost every single round. The Bears could wait till later in the draft to take Allen's replacement. Taking a receiver at 9 will make Ryan Poles a spendthrift. That draft capital could be spent on a different spot, like maybe a edge rusher.
Defense wins championships, right? The Bears could opt to use their pick on a standout edge rusher, solidifying their front seven and giving Montez Sweat a rushing mate to take some pressure off of him. However, is defense the most pressing need for the Bears? Their defense finished as one of the top units in the league last year. So while the Bears did finish in the top half of the league in total defense, they finished in the bottom 10 against the pass. They finished 31st in sacks and 29th in third down defense. Taking the top edge rusher in this draft could pole vault this defense into a top 5 unit in the league and give Caleb the best defense he's ever played with. Also, this is a shallow class when it comes to edge rushers. With the Bears' next pick being in the 4th round, they may not get another chance to shore up this position. While this is a shallow draft at edge, the Bears only have 4 picks in this draft class. Taking an edge here would fill a need, but it would also limit the Bears' ability to round out their roster with higher floor talent, forcing them to heavily rely on more undrafted free agents or stopgap players if they get hit with the injury bug. Drafting an edge rusher fills a much needed hole on the Bears roster, but it also leaves them top heavy. If a player at a key position goes down with an injury, the Bears would be forced to turn to guys who might not have NFL level talent to fill the void.
The Bears have traded draft picks for talented vets at key spots throughout the entire roster. While this has vastly improved the roster, it's also left the Bears with only 4 picks in this draft and none on day 2. Yet, what if moving back cost the Bears a player that they really wanted? Would it still be worth those extra picks? Another edge rusher is the biggest need for the Bears right now, but is it their only need? The Bears need to leave this draft with improvements to their defensive tackle room and their interior offensive line depth. They could also use another wide receiver and tight end. Trading back will give them more picks to improve the overall depth of the roster and kind of prevent them from the good old injury bug. Not to mention, they'll keep the roster young and cheap longer. The biggest drawback of this move will be that you will lose out on a top edge rusher and can't improve on your biggest weakness in this draft. Trading back gives the Bears more ammo to fill out this roster with solid young pieces. If they move back with a team like the Bengals, who may be itching to draft a right tackle of their future, the Bears could end up netting a 2nd and a 4th this year for that kind of move. But would that move be too far back to get Dallas Turner or Jared Verse?
The Chicago Bears have a pivotal decision to make with the number 9 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Do they take one of the top 3 receivers, the top edge rusher, or do they trade back? To us, the answer is clear. It is more important to have more bullets than to have a bigger target. The Bears should trade back. While this draft class isn't heavy with talented edge rushers, the Bears should be able to move back and still take a player like Laiatu Latu, who put on a dominant performance at the Senior Bowl. With the additional draft capital, you could round out the edges of this roster and build a more sustainable product instead of a flash in the pan. What do you think the Bears should do? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to check out more Bears video we have on the channel. Until next time, we're the RFL Show. Welcome back, guys. We really hope you enjoyed that Bears segment. Hopefully you agree with us that the trading back makes the most sense for setting up the Bears for long-term success. But with that, we're going to be turning our attention to our final segment of the episode. We are doing a draft profile on the generational wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. Is there a hole in his game that he really needs to work on at the NFL level? We'll see you guys in the segment. Welcome back to the RFL Show, the rational podcast for rational fans. I'm Emmett Swarat, here with my co-host Brendyn Ford, and today we're shining the spotlight on one of the most exciting wide receiver prospects in this year's draft class, Marvin Harrison Jr. From his lineage to his draft skill, there's plenty to unpack about Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's dive into his draft profile and see what makes him stand out from the pack and what limitations he has in his game.
First things first, let's talk about the pedigree. Marvin Harrison Jr. comes from football royalty. His father, Marvin Harrison Sr., is a Hall of Fame wide receiver known for his exceptional route running and his hands. With that kind of DNA, it's no surprise that Marvin Harrison Jr. has football in his blood.
Marvin Harrison Jr.'s route running prowess is unparalleled. His crisp footwork and knack for creating separation from defenders make him a nightmare to guard, especially when he pulls off a play like this. Take a look at this play. He recognizes the outbreaking route against hard outside leverage, so he aggressively attacks the corner's inside leverage, catching Kalen King off guard with a slick box cut to get back outside. And watch how he smoothly comes out of this break flat, preventing King from even laying a finger on him. But what sets him apart? It's his ability to stop on a dime with minimal wasted movement. In this clip, it's mind-boggling how he goes from full speed to a flat break in just 3 steps, all at a towering height of 6'3". But wait, there's more. In this last clip, he's like a tactician on the field. Spotting the corner is in a bail technique, he attacks the blind spot, patiently waiting until he's practically invisible, then effortlessly drops his hips and stops dead in his tracks. And let's not forget about his hands. They're like glue. This dude rarely drops a catchable ball, even when defenders are draped all over him. In fact, there's a moment against Penn State where they tried to tackle him before the ball even arrived. And guess what? He still came down with it.
They got it through. Watch the contact right there. Yeah, there's Kalen King just almost tackles him, and Harrison still fights through and makes the catch.
All right, let's talk about the cons. I know he's a top 5 prospect, but bear with me. Now, when we dissected Malik Neighbors, we agreed there's no such thing as a perfect prospect. Enter Marvin Harrison Jr., a player packed with loads of talent, but with one glaring blind spot. He's not exactly the best at making defenders miss after the catch. Picture this. Last season, he bulldozed his way to 427 yards after the catch. But here's the kicker. He only managed to slip past 5 defenders, and that's according to PFF. Now, that's a head-scratcher, right? Here's the thing. Harrison's route running generates so much separation that most of his YAC comes from the cornerback not being around him. Seriously, the guy's routes are so clean that defenders end up just falling down or just losing him in like coverage. However, when he comes face to face, with that cornerback or linebacker, safety or whatever, he's not exactly Barry Sanders. So while he might be able to generate a lot of separation, make people miss is not going to be something that show up on his highlight tape.
So wrapping it all up, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a rare talent poised to shake up the NFL scene. With his next level route running, football smarts, and a lineage that's the stuff of legends, he's on track to emulate his father's illustrious career. Sure, he might not be the king of yards after catch, but there's no denying his potential for greatness. A Hall of Fame career? You better believe it. But tell us what you think in the comment section. Is Marvin Harrison Jr.'s inability to get yards after the catch a concern or not? While you're there, check out some of our other videos from our draft series. And until next time, we're the RFL Show. Welcome back, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that Marvin Harrison Jr. segment. Hopefully you'll let us know what you thought, that if the lack of YAC is a concern or not. With that does conclude our episode for the day. Don't forget, you guys can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Watch some other episodes on the channel. Until next time, it's been Emmett, it's been B, and we're the Rational Football League Show.